Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Shakinah binti Abrani. Today we will discuss about diplomacy in foreign policy. So basically, I will discuss about the history, the definition, the importance, and the function of diplomacy in foreign policy. So the history it is start from Mesopotamia and Egypt dynasty, where marriage to engage an alliance between states. Also, that was the use of diplomacy in the historical perspective. So then, Greece, they use rhetoric as a tool of public diplomacy. In Byzantium, also use diplomacy because it has a lot of enemies of its border and possess only limited military power. So it used diplomacy as a tool for itself to survive for a long time, and they have been really successful in the history. And Italian diplomacy, where Milan was the first to send their representatives to the court of France in 1445. So after the Italians, a proper method of diplomacy was devised, and a proper diplomacy came into limelight. Diplomacy spread in Europe with the Treaty of Westphalia in 1648. So that was a complete formal attempt of diplomacy in 1648, and the Treaty of Aix-la-Chapelle in 1748. Treaty negotiated largely by Britain and France with the other power following their lead, ending the War of Austrian Succession in 1742 to 1748. So that was another example of diplomacy in the history. And even in the India before independence, the government of British India maintained semi-autonomous diplomatic relations. It had colonies such as Aden Settlement San, and received full diplomatic mission, and was found a member of both League of Nations and United Nations. Even in Malaysia, we also use diplomacy to gain our independence. So from this, you can understand that diplomacy have been the part of society from quite a long time, and it is still being used as an efficient tool for the solution of many problems in the international arena. So let's move on. Let's talk about the definition. The definition of diplomacy is broadly described as the art of conducting negotiation, agreement, and relation between two or more parties in a sensitive way. From this definition, you can understand that diplomacy can be used anywhere. It can be between the husband and wife, or between two relationships. In this presentation, we are going to talk about the diplomacy in the international arena. In the international politics, in international nation, it forms the basis for peace, making economics, culture, trade, and wars. So the definition of diplomacy in Oxford Dictionary state that diplomacy is management of international relation by negotiation. Next is the importance of diplomacy. Why we use diplomacy? What is its importance in this light? So we are going to discuss it. The importance of diplomacy is to help in arbitration and mediation, basically, and it is really important so that if diplomacy wouldn't be available as a tool for the solution, then the ultimate result will be the full-fledged war, and that no country can afford that war. Nowadays, it can be really fatal for another country's or states' economies. It also helps to implement foreign policy effectively. So it is used for the implementation of foreign policy, as it is a soft power method to ensure international peace. So what happened in the history, that the only method to achieving their goals or to achieving their national interest is through war. But this is a soft method for ensuring international peace, promotes cooperation between two states. Let's move on to the function. So I will talk about the basic function, where it's representing states' national interests on the international political environment. Next, obtaining information. Gaining information about the other state. Through diplomacy, we're gaining the information, what they are doing and how they can arrange themselves in that political arena. Next, diplomacy can promoting and protecting the interests of nation. That's what the function of diplomacy is, to promote and protect the interests of our nations. Lastly is to expand political, economics, and cultural ties between two states. That's another function of diplomacy. So basically, diplomacy is to promote all those aspects. That's all from me. Thank you.